Hi, my name is David Lewis and I'd like to talk to you about Google Scholar. I think Google Scholar is a great resource when it comes to searching for various kinds of scientific articles and other kinds of sources that you might be interested in. In fact, Google Scholar is great for doing any kind of research, whether it's scientific or not. And one of the best things about Google Scholar is that it is completely free. You don't need to sign in, you don't need to spend any amount of money, and you have access to Google's awesome search engine that will allow you to find pretty much anything that's been published in the last few decades. It's pretty awesome how easy it is. Unfortunately, there are some limitations. When you use Google Scholar, you'll find that you do not have full access to everything that's out there. Many articles, many sources are only going to give you like a little sample, like just an abstract or just a title, and you won't be allowed to have full access to that source. So that can be kind of a bummer when you come across that. But for the most part, you'll have access to more sources than you would ever need. So if you'd like to try out Google Scholar, what you want to do is go up to your address bar, type in scholar.google.com, which will bring you to this page that we're looking at right here. But now this is, for most students, the hardest part, because what you need to do now is just spend some time thinking. You want to think about the various topics that you're interested in, and you want to try to figure out a good key term, a good word that you can search for in order to find articles and other sources about that topic. So what is it you're interested in? If you're interested in, depression, for example, like mood disorders, then you would want to type that in the box you see right up here in this search box. So for the sake of this demonstration, let's just go ahead and type in the word depression. So now what we want to do is click on the search button, and Google will do a super fast search and find all of the most relevant sources on the topic of depression. So just go ahead and click that search button right there. Okay, so here are my results. And if you've never used Google Scholar before, this can look a little chaotic. Like there's tons of tiny little things you can click on, but all you should worry about initially is just the titles of each of these sources. And that's the big blue titles that you see right there. So now you just want to kind of scroll through all of your results and see if you can find something that piques your interest. Here's one that looks kind of interesting. Let's just go ahead and click on this one right here and see what we can get. All right, so by clicking on that link, it brought us to the article's main page. So you can see this article is published in the American Journal of Psychiatry, and you can see the authors, you can see the volume number, the date of publication, and all that important stuff. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see here that we've got more information about this article. What you're looking at on the left is called the abstract. This is just like a super condensed summary of the full text of the article. So by reading the abstract, you'll know all of the most important bits from that full text. And that's a great way to decide whether or not you are interested in this article and whether or not you should spend that time reading the full text. But let's just say that for the paper I'm writing, this particular article doesn't really fit with what I'm trying to write about. Let's look for something else. So just go ahead and back out to the main Google Scholar page we were looking at just a moment ago. All right, so let's find a different article. Let's find something a little bit more interesting, perhaps. I'm not really interested in coronary artery disease, so let's look for something else. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find plenty more articles, and this is just a few. There are pages and pages and pages of various articles, but we won't go into all of that right now. Let's just look at a few examples. Here's one. Let's look at this one. This one's about a rating scale for depression. It was published in 1960, but let's just check it out and see what that's about. So go ahead and click on the link you see over here. All right, so here is the source. This looks like it was published in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry. Okay, if you notice here, it doesn't look like there's an abstract, but there is a link for the full text. So let's just go ahead and click on this link over here. All right, so oftentimes when you see links like that and you click on them, it will open up the full text in the form of a PDF file. This is just kind of a standard. In fact, if you ever see links to PDFs on Google Scholar, that generally means you have full access to the text. So with this article though, now that we have the full text as a PDF, you can actually do a lot of stuff with that. You could print it out, you could save it, and all those other kinds of functions by just going up to this toolbar up at the top and clicking on one of the icons. So if you want to save it, just go ahead and click on the little save icon that you see up there. All right, so those are the basics of like how to find various sources and read about them. But Google Scholar offers a lot more than just that. So let me show you a couple of the other really cool things that Google Scholar can do. So let's go to the main page. All right, so now that we're back out here at the main page, I just want you to check out this little thing over here. So if you look under the title for the article that we were just looking at, you'll see a few smaller blue links. Like you see one that says, for example, cited by 22,450. That means if you click on that button, you'll be able to see 22,450 different articles that have all referenced this one. So that by clicking on that button, that's a great way to find more recent research that has discussed the article you just read. So let's click on that. All right, so once again, we have a page of results. If you notice over there, we have some links to PDFs, and all of these articles had something to say about the one we were just looking at. So as I just mentioned, this is a great way to find more recently published studies on some of the more major ones that were done in the past. Let me show you another cool thing you can do. So now that we're back here at the main page, let's look at related articles. That's the button you see right next to it. So if you click on this button, it will take you to another search page. But now what you're looking at is what Google deems to be related. So these are all the sources that are, for whatever reason, considered to be related to the one you were looking at. If you look at these sources, it seems pretty clear why Google Scholar believes they're related. Most of these have to do with either anxiety or depression or how to rate these various kinds of mental disorders. So some of these might be exactly what you're looking for. So using this, looking up the related articles to an article you found on Google Scholar can be a great way to find something that might be harder to locate just using a simple Google Scholar search. But there's one last thing I'd like to show you. So let's go back out to that main page one more time. So now that we're here, you can see there's a few more buttons, but the only one that I really want to point your attention to is the one that says Cite. So why don't you go ahead and click on that. If you click on that button, and you see all of the sources have these buttons, but if you click on this one, it will show you exactly how to format your reference page entry for that source. And it shows you how to do it in MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, and Vancouver format. But since this presentation is for a psychology course, we're going to be concerned with the APA style. Now, Google Scholar automatically generates these things, and it usually does a pretty good job. Unfortunately, it's not perfect. If you're familiar with APA style, you'll recognize the fact that it has incorrectly formatted the journal title. I'm going to post another video pretty soon going into more detail about those kinds of APA style conventions. So we won't go into detail about that right now. All right, so that's pretty much everything I have to say about Google Scholar. There's a lot of really great stuff on there, and it just takes some time and some patience in order to find a few really good articles. But if you're willing to put in the time, then I'm sure you'll be able to find something that you really think is interesting, and it will be a resource I'm sure you'll use many times throughout your life in order to find more scientifically based sources. So that's it. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.